Hi, welcome to Real English Lab, where learning English is fun and simple. Let's dive in.
Ever get that like heart in your throat feeling thinking about, parent-teacher conferences coming up?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially if you're not a native English speaker. It's a lot to think about.
Right. It's like you want to make a good impression, you're worried about understanding everything, and then on top of it, you're trying to advocate for your kid. It's a lot.
It really is. That's why we're diving into this English lesson today, actually. It's all about how to really nail those parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah. I mean, imagine walking in there feeling totally prepared, like you can handle any question or concern.
Exactly. Like you've got the phrases, the confidence, the whole package. That's the goal here, right? To help parents feel empowered.
Absolutely. And the lesson jumps right into it, too. It talks about how important it is to, not make those classic beginner mistakes.
Yeah, those little slip-ups that can, like, trip you up and make you feel less confident. Things that native speakers might not even think about.
Exactly. So I was looking at this, and one of the first things they point out is like the difference between formal and informal language.
Oh, that's a big one. It's like you wouldn't walk into a business meeting and be like, "What's up, dude?"
Right, exactly. It just sets the wrong tone. And this lesson actually gives some great examples of like what to say instead.
Yeah, like instead of "Hey, teach, how's my kid doing?" You could try something more like, "Good afternoon. I'd like to discuss my child's progress."
Right. Much more professional. It shows you understand the kind of seriousness of the meeting.
It's about respect, too. You're showing the teacher that you value their time and expertise.
And then they dive into some really specific phrases you can use during the conference. I was actually highlighting a bunch of them as I was reading.
Oh, me too. There are some really good ones in here, like ways to ask about your child's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, and I noticed they emphasize using language that focuses on like growth and improvement instead of just labeling kids.
Oh, that's so important. Like instead of saying he's bad at math, you could say he's finding math challenging at the moment.
Right. It's subtle, but it makes such a difference. It keeps the conversation positive and focused on solutions.
Exactly. And I like how they give options for different situations too. Like, what if your kid is actually excelling in a subject?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
How do you phrase that in a way that's both positive and like encourages the teacher to give you, the full picture?
Yeah, because you still want to know if there are areas where they can grow, even if they're doing well overall.
Right, right. So I'm looking at the lesson here, and they suggest something like, we're so proud of how well she's doing in science. Are there any areas within the subject where you see opportunities for her to further challenge herself?
Perfect. You're acknowledging her success, but also inviting the teacher to share any insights they might have about her development.
Smart. It's like you're showing you're not just there to brag, but you're genuinely invested in her continued learning.
And that kind of leads into another important point the lesson makes asking clarifying questions.
Oh, yeah, that's huge, especially for non-native speakers. I mean, what happens if the teacher uses a word you don't understand?
Don't be afraid to ask. It's better to clarify than to pretend you know and miss important information.
Absolutely. The lesson even gives some examples of how to phrase those questions politely. Like, could you explain what you mean by differentiated instruction? Or, I'm not familiar with that assessment tool. Could you tell me more about it?
Perfect. It shows you're engaged and that you want to fully understand what's being discussed. Plus, it helps avoid misunderstandings down the road.
And speaking of avoiding misunderstandings, there's this whole section about verb tenses. It points out how, like, a small change in tense can change the meaning of what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, that's tricky. I remember struggling with that when I first started learning English.
Me too. Like, saying he improves in math sounds different from he is improving in math.
Right. The first one sounds more like a general statement about his ability, while the second one emphasizes that he's actively making progress.
And in the context of a parent-teacher conference, you want to make sure you're using the tense that accurately reflects the situation. You don't want to accidentally downplay your child's efforts or, overstate their progress.
Exactly. And asking clarifying questions can help with this too. If you're not sure about the nuance of a particular tense, just ask the teacher to elaborate.
Makes sense. So we've talked about greetings, phrasing questions, clarifying things.
Mm.
What else is there?
Well, the lesson also emphasizes the importance of ending the conversation on a positive and appreciative note.
Ah, yes, the grand finale. Got to leave a good impression. What are some good ways to do that?
They suggest something like, "Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. We appreciate your insights and look forward to working together to support child's name."
That's nice. It really reinforces that sense of partnership and collaboration.
Exactly. It shows that you see the teacher as an ally in your child's education, not just someone you have to meet with once a semester.
And that's a really powerful message to send, I think. So overall, what have we learned today? Well, it's clear that mastering the parent-teacher conference, especially in a language you're still learning, is about more than just memorizing a few phrases. It's about understanding the nuances of communication, showing genuine interest, and being an active advocate for your child.
Absolutely. And here's a final thought to leave you with. How can you apply these communication skills beyond the classroom? Think about it. Could they be useful in your workplace, in your community interactions, even within your family?
That's such a good point. Learning to navigate these kinds of conversations effectively can really have a ripple effect on all aspects of our lives.
Food for thought, and hopefully it'll make those parent-teacher conferences a little less daunting.
Definitely. All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you next time. If you want more series, leave a comment and let us know.